You wake up thinking about one person, you check your phone before your feet touch the floor. A short message from them can make the entire day feel electric. Silence can ruin it. You replay conversations, search for hidden meanings, build possible futures, and tell yourself that this must be love, because nothing ordinary could possibly feel this intense. But intensity is not always intimacy. Sometimes what feels like extraordinary love is something completely different. Psychologists describe it as limerence, an intrusive, emotionally consuming fixation on another person, especially on whether they will return your feelings. Now, having a crush does not mean anything is wrong with you. And the important question is not simply how strongly you feel. It is whether your attention, mood, imagination, and daily life are becoming organized around one person's possible reciprocation. Here are 10 signs that may be happening. The first sign is that you cannot stop thinking about them. Everyone thinks about someone they like. Limerence becomes different when the thoughts stop feeling voluntary. You try to work, study, sleep, exercise, or enjoy time with friends, and your mind keeps returning to the same person. The thought may change shape, but the subject never really changes. What are they doing? Do they miss me? Why haven't they replied? What would happen if we were together? At this point, the person is not simply present in your life. They are occupying your attention. The second sign is that you replay tiny interactions as if they contain a hidden answer. Maybe they smiled differently. Maybe their message ended with an extra word. Maybe they remembered something you told them 3 weeks ago. Your mind takes these ordinary fragments and studies them like evidence. You reread messages. You revisit conversations. You reconstruct their tone. You wonder whether a joke was secretly flirtation or whether a delayed reply means rejection. The actual interaction may have lasted 30 seconds, but your analysis can last 3 days. What your mind is searching for is certainty. Unfortunately, that search can become part of the trap. That leads to the third sign. Uncertainty makes you more obsessed instead of less interested. You might assume that not knowing how someone feels would eventually weaken attraction, but with limerence, ambiguity can keep the whole system alive. A clear yes gives you reality. A clear no may eventually force acceptance, but maybe leaves an unfinished psychological loop. They seem interested, then distant, warm, then unavailable. They give you enough attention to create hope, but not enough clarity to settle anything. Your mind keeps returning because it believes one more message, one more encounter, or one more clue might finally resolve the question. Here, uncertainty is not an obstacle to the fixation, it is the fuel. The fourth sign is that your mood becomes dependent on tiny signals from them. They text you, and suddenly you feel euphoric. They leave you on red, and your stomach drops. They like something you posted and hope returns. They seem distracted around you, and you spend the evening wondering what changed. This is more than caring what another person thinks. Your emotional state is becoming unusually sensitive to their behavior. It is almost as if you have handed someone else the remote control to your nervous system without telling them. The fifth sign is that the relationship in your imagination is becoming more developed than the relationship in reality. You imagine future conversations, you picture trips together, you rehearse the moment they finally understand how special the connection is. You imagine them choosing you, needing you, rescuing you, or being rescued by you. Fantasy is normal in attraction, but the problem begins when the imagined relationship becomes emotionally more important than the real one. You may know little about how this person handles conflict, commitment, stress, or ordinary life. Yet internally, an entire relationship has already been constructed. You are responding not only to who they are, but to who they have become inside your imagination. The sixth sign is surprisingly contradictory. You may avoid reality because reality could destroy the fantasy. You monitor them from a distance. You wait for signs. You hope they will make the first move. You spend hours imagining what would happen if you confessed your feelings, but you never create a situation where you could receive a clear answer. Why? Because fantasy can survive ambiguity. Reality cannot. A clear rejection ends one version of the story. A real relationship also forces the idealized person to become an ordinary human being with limits and flaws. So the mind can become attached not only to the person, but to preserving possibility. The seventh sign is that you idealize what they represent. This does not necessarily mean you literally think they are perfect. You may know their flaws and still feel unable to let go. The deeper attachment may be to what being chosen by them would mean. Maybe it would prove you are lovable. Maybe this person represents escape from loneliness, a new identity, or the emotional security you have wanted for years. That is why losing the fantasy can feel much larger than losing one person. You are not only grieving them, you may be grieving the version of yourself you imagined becoming through them. The eighth sign is that you repeatedly seek tiny doses of proximity. You check whether they are online. You open their profile again. You reread old messages. You notice what they liked or whether they viewed your story. None of these behaviors proves limerence by itself. Most people occasionally look at someone they are interested in. The important question is what the behavior is doing psychologically. If checking has become a ritual you use to reduce anxiety, restore hope, feel temporarily close to them, or answer the same unanswered question, then the checking may actually be feeding the cycle. You receive a few seconds of relief, then uncertainty returns. So you check again. The ninth sign is that the rest of your life begins shrinking. This may be the most important warning sign. Friends become less interesting. Hobbies lose their pull. Work becomes harder to concentrate on. You cancel plans because there's a chance they might contact you. You stop investing emotionally in other relationships because one person has become the center of the psychological map. The problem is no longer simply that they matter a lot. Everything else is beginning to matter less. And that brings us to sign 10. The fixation is interfering with your basic functioning. Your sleep changes because you are thinking late into the night. Your appetite changes. Your concentration deteriorates. Your productivity falls. You feel restless, anxious, emotionally exhausted, or unable to focus on ordinary responsibilities. At this point, the useful question is not, are my feelings real? They probably are. The question is, what are these feelings doing to my life? That distinction matters because limerence and genuine affection are not necessarily opposites. Healthy love can be intense. People in stable, long-term relationships can still feel passion, desire, excitement, and deep attachment. Intensity alone is not the red flag. The pattern is. Limerence becomes concerning when longing turns intrusive. Uncertainty keeps the obsession alive. Tiny signs control your mood. Fantasy begins replacing reality. Compulsive behaviors repeatedly reinforce the fixation, and your own life starts disappearing around it. So what do you do if you realize this is happening to you? Start by separating the person from the loop. Notice which behaviors keep the fixation active. Maybe it is rereading messages. Maybe it is checking their profile 20 times a day. Maybe it is asking friends to interpret every interaction. Maybe it is deliberately revisiting fantasies whenever you feel lonely. Your feelings do not have to be fake for you to stop feeding the rituals built around them. Bring reality back into the picture. What do you actually know about this person? What has genuinely happened between you? What are you assuming? What exists only in fantasy? Then rebuild the parts of your life that have been pushed aside. Friends, work, sleep, exercise, interests, goals, relationships that exist outside this one person's attention. This way, you stop organizing your entire emotional world around whether another person chooses you. Think about it. Maybe the deepest difference between love and limerence is not how powerful the feeling is. It is what the feeling allows to exist around it. Healthy love can make another person important without making you disappear. Limerence can slowly convince you that your life will finally begin once one particular person gives you the answer you have been waiting for. But your life is already happening, and no notification, confession, fantasy, or moment of reciprocation should require you to abandon yourself in order to feel chosen.